Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? I know it's been a while since I have made a YouTube video. Like always, kind of slack on those a bit, but I thought, what better YouTube video to make than a reaction video to the New World dev update that has recently came out the other day, on the 30th, just yesterday. I haven't watched it yet. I didn't really get time to watch it the other day when it first came out. So we're going to watch it today real quick, make a little recording about it, do a little reaction, talk about, I know they're going to be talking about the Brimstone Sands release, so this should be a pretty exciting dev update to get into here. I'm really excited for it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it here and start the video up. Hopefully this is big enough and my camera is not cutting off too much of the actual video. Anyways, let's get it going. Pressing play.
Hi everyone, welcome to the August developer update. As you can see, Tina's not here today, so we're going to do things a little bit different. It's going to be a group of us talking through everything together. First, though, I want to introduce the other people at the table with me. So we have Dan Henhuber, who is our social experience lead. We have his partner in camouflage, Mike Willett, who is the world experience lead. And we have Katie, who's the live lead producer type person on the team. So anyway.
Nailed it.
Got it.
All your live
That was
issues.
perfect.
Yell at her.
Before we start, though, I want to touch base on a quick update. The summer medley fair, we're going to actually run that until September 6th. Just so you all know, you have a little more time to get your Maudlin Haze.
Look at their
get up to the Maestro
little
and get all the
pyramid
good
down
goodies
there. That's pretty cool.
Today we're going to talk about the next update, which is the Brimstone Sands update that is coming in October. We're pretty excited about this. It is a massive update. We're also going to do a little bit of a dive into territory management and progress we're making toward that and how we're thinking about it.
What?
We're going to talk about the PTR rollout plan for the Brimstone update,
Yo.
and then we're going to sign off. So without further ado, I'm going to start us with a dive into the upcoming update. All right, we want to talk a little bit about the Brimstone update. We're not going to go too deep because in September we have some time reserved where we're going to really dive into that. But at a high level, Mike, do you want to give an overview of Brimstone, which is the anchor for the release?
Sure thing, Scott. So some background on it and the lore. An old Egyptian kingdom basically arose thousands of years ago in this area of Eternum, known as Brimstone Sands, and they had this symbiotic relationship with the ancients. And along the way, there was a big falling out and a war that occurred. No details to share yet. You're gonna have to wait till the next update. But what happened is, almost 1,000 years later, the Roman legion arrived. And then they had some encounters with corruption. And that led to kind of the modern state where things are in disarray and one of your old allies has now become a nemesis here on Eternum. And so part of that story has to play out in this brand new, almost 3 zones worth of content, which is Brimstone Sands.
Is a big place.
It is a massive place.
Nice.
We have sulfur pools and new ancient artifacts and structures and brand new POIs and dozens of new enemies. It is an awesome place.
We want to leave some surprises.
Some surprises. I'm not going to dive into too many details, but there's some creatures there that
the
are
way
just
it
like
looks.
very
The
good.
creatures look really nice.
Yeah, and it's just fun to have this
It's
massive,
pretty awesome.
diverse zone to run around that looks nothing like anything in the game right now.
Yeah.
We're really excited to share that with everybody. And I guess if you're going to be hanging out in this new zone with really tough enemies, you're going to need something to help you live there, right? A new weapon?
A new
yes.
weapon. What's that
the
one
Greatsword.
that players have been asking about?
Oh, man.
Sweat gourd.
I didn't like
Oh
that
no,
at
I'm sorry,
all.
Great
There
Sword.
it is.
Totally messed that up. No, I know it's been long requested, and I've talked to the Daves about this at length, so some more teasers about it. It does scale evenly off of strength and dex, 2-handed weapon, and allows you to stance dance between basically the 2 trees. One is really offensive oriented, and it's called, I think it's Onslaught, and basically you're sacrificing health basically for damage. So you're going to receive more damage so you can give more
Nice.
damage. And there's an awesome give and play with that. And you're also going to sacrifice more stamina in order to do heavier attacks much faster. So it's a really cool tree. And then when you use abilities from the Defiant stance, which is more defense oriented, also can be used by tanks because it has things that will draw aggro. A lot of counter hit play. You're going to do
Look at
less
that
damage,
sword.
but you're
That
going to
sword
take
looks
less
sick.
damage. And so there's a lot of things where you can block
And that
incoming
gear. That gear
attacks.
looks pretty
And the
cool,
amount of
not gonna
attacks that
lie.
you block during a set amount of time will unleash even more damage on the release. So
I
it's
love
really
to
cool
hear that we are thinking about tanks when we talk about these trees.
Yeah, it's a really unique weapon. I'd love to see off tank play, and just how it gets incorporated into other people's builds. But
Well, yeah, that's the key, I think, is you can pair it because it's dex and strength with so many of our weapons. It's gonna, players are gonna find things we never thought of as far as ways to use this. Again, it's a really exciting release coming up. There's a lot.
There's probably more, but I'm going to save that for the next update because I'm sure the Daves really want to dive in.
We really got the important
Daves.
stuff out of the way, which is when that's going to be headed their way, and is the Greatsword included?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, and is there any other playable content included, like maybe an expedition that you want to talk about, Mike?
There is an expedition. So one of our latest expeditions, it goes along the story of the ancients and that relationship with the Romans and that Roman legion. And so it takes place in our giant pyramid known as the Ennead. Players are going to obviously group up and they're going to head for the Ennead expedition. And it's going to be unlike anything that you've played so far. Really cool visuals, brand new enemies, new mechanics. So we have like these sentry guards that actually roam some of the halls. So I'm really excited about
looks
it.
pretty cool.
All new loot. Can't wait for players to get in the PTR and check it out.
Hopefully it's a little longer.
We'll have a
than,
lot to show on this over the, as we get closer to the release. And there's one more, well, there's a
Black
bunch of more
powder
stuff, but there's one more we're going to talk
dungeon.
about right now that we've kind of held
one seemed kinda short.
as a secret until now. And we've heard a lot of feedback from players on our starting experience, how they wanted more variation in AI, more variation in the zones, everything to feel different, especially more variation in questing. So we've revamped the first 25 levels of the experience. And we cannot wait to share it with everyone and get people in to see it. Again, we're going to do a much deeper dive on this next month. But our goal is to get it out there. We think we've addressed like enough to make everyone think, wow, this is awesome. Once we start validating that with players, we're going to take those learnings and apply them all the way through the entire questing experience and leveling experience. And
that is good. That is
another
gonna
thing,
look a little different.
this release
and
is really big.
feel-
There's a lot here. There's a lot of stuff we haven't even
feel
talked
kinda
about
like
yet.
a whole
and we can't
different
wait to
game.
get into. But it's exciting, which is why we're devoting a couple of dev updates to it. So with that, let's switch bases and talk about territory management just a little bit. Dan, do you want to talk about like some of the big issues you've been hearing from players?
For sure, yeah. Since we've been live, it's been really cool to see how these systems scale. Like, I mean, we've obviously done a lot of scale testing over the years, but nothing compared to what we've seen since we've launched. There's a lot that we want to do with it. I mean, we've heard feedback loud and clear from all different kinds of players. We're kind of taking a like short-term and long-term approach. In the short term, I think we mainly want to address three key issues, meaning the economic balancing issues that we've been hearing about, the shell companies, I think we're all friends here. Like, we all know they're called shell companies. It's when you create like multiple companies in order to kind of bypass certain things. We're going to address that.
Yay! Finally addressing
And then the third
shell
thing that we're going to
companies.
address is, help me out here. We just talked about it.
The crafters being left out.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Almost left him out of
See,
the
I have cheat. I have a note.
There's a lot to the territory mechanics, in all seriousness. So like, there's a lot of things we want to fix. Like I said,
Yeah.
so those
think
big
that has-
three we're gonna take action on
Territory
within the next
mechanics.
couple of releases.
It's very important to the
Our
game.
goals for them are basically for
Kind
the
of-
economy. We're gonna do some things to kind of spread the money around. So like right now,
territory makes the
Everfall
game,
and Windsword, I think everybody knows, like those are the territories to own, right? And the other ones are less important. So we wanted to address that. And then we also wanted to address kind of like the runaway win condition of once you have those two territories, like you quickly just generate enough wealth to just be unstoppable. We want to fix that. We want to make it so that you can be competitive by owning like Greek water or something like that. So
Heck yeah, dude.
that's coming soon.
That would
That's
be
coming the
really cool.
soonest. The next
That'd
thing
be
we're
really
going to
cool.
do is we're going to try to address shell companies in a few ways. We've been talking to players a lot, reading their feedback and actually going back and forth. We're not going to do like a standard just company switching cooldown, but we're going to do something very similar to that, which hopefully won't if you join a company and you decide it's not for you, you'll still be able to leave. But what it will do is you'll have a cooldown on when you can join a war. And then we're going to combine that with a minimum requirement on defense. So where if you're defending your territory in a war, you're going to have 35 players. Well, I shouldn't have said the number because we don't know for sure the number. It's going to be at least 35, maybe as many as 50. But the idea being that if you're defending a territory, you have to have mostly your company defending it, combined with that switching cooldown is going to hopefully address the number one reason why people form their shell companies, which is to be able to fight multiple wars in the same day.
So these changes, what's our goal with them? Is it to be more fair? Is it so everybody's got a shot at taking part in this? I think that, different players have different motives for wanting to join in on it, but most of them want to win and they want to feel like they're winning. So just what's our motivation for these particular changes?
Yeah, we want to make it so that if you're a competitive company, you can still, aspire to like a little empire that you're building.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be possible for you to the reason shell companies are bad is because it's obviously just a way to work around the limitation that the original system had built in, where because your company has the same siege time every day for all the
Definitely agree
territories.
with all of this.
That meant you can't. You can't fight in more than one war at the same time. So that was meant to be kind of a limiting device on the number of territories you can own. But obviously you can just defeat that by using shell companies. So we want to close that.
I think at a high level, I think how we're thinking about it is we want to make it a fair environment, but still rewarding. However, not so rewarding that if you're not in this, you feel like you could never catch up and never get there, right?
Yeah.
Owning territory is really cool and it should have some awesome rewards and be powerful, but not so much that you can just destroy everybody else.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Absolutely.
the only
All
thing
this
that
in a fair
matters,
way.
which is kind of what it feels like.
And then with the
right now.
crafting, I would add that on the crafting side, I think crafters who don't participate in the war and any of that stuff sometimes can get left out in the dark where, hey, I can't get access to a tier 5 station or this or that. So we want to make sure that they have opportunities to not be blocked by gameplay that they don't really participate in.
Yeah.
Other thing I just wanted to really quickly touch on, these changes are touch so many systems that we're taking our time with them because the last thing we want to do is step in, change something and make something worse or break something we didn't think about. There's a lot of moving pieces here and we have to treat them with delicate hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else we want to talk about on territory management?
No, I think we're moving in a good direction. As you said, Scott, it's going to be slow to get there because we want to be very methodical and meticulous with those changes. But I think that this is something that players have been asking for and we're going to deliver. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to keep investing in the systems long term, and it's been awesome to see everybody having fun with them so far.
Nice.
Awesome.
That is some great stuff to hear. Honestly, I think that'll help the game overall.
Shifting back to the Brimstone release, Katie, let's talk about
The fun of it.
PTR rollout plan.
Completely.
Sure. So for those not savvy to what PTR is, that's the public test realm. I know you were wondering, Willette. So I'm glad I explained it. So similar to what we saw with the Summer Medley Fair content, Barnacles and Black Powder, Group Finder, those all hit the PTR at different times. So that we could focus our scale testing on each of those. We're going to continue that when it comes to the Brimstone Sands release. So we're not releasing all of the things that we just talked about at the same time. The first thing that players will see, or that we're anticipating players will see on the PTR, is that starting experience that you were talking about, Scott. So that's the first thing that they're going to see. They'll see the Greatsword during that time too. So those are the two main things that we're putting out there, along with the thousands of
some
other
amazing
changes that we
changes.
put in this game that you can only find in the patch notes because we cannot recall them because we're not automatons. But then after players have had a time to help us scale test that, then we're going to introduce Brimstone Sands. So those will all be available on the PTR before we do the release in October.
And we're
Fancy.
introducing so much change and so much new stuff that
Looks nice.
we
I like
really
it.
need the community to get in there and help us test this. We're even adding a little more time than normal to have the PTR running because we just want to make sure we find everything and have time to address it. Like, we're so excited about this release. We could really use as much help as possible testing and making sure it's not only bug-free, but fun, that we're hitting the right notes, I think is super important.
I think that's probably more important
Hitting the right
than
notes,
the other bugs,
Music?
which of course, like we want to
Playing
get their
some
bug
music over there?
reports. But I think the
Sounds
thing
good.
when at least this first hits PTR, what we really want is number one, the scale that we can't create on our own, which is individual players playing individually, not acting like bots, but going in and roughing up the build as they would normally, and then letting us know if it's fun. Is this something that like you were excited to see this new content? Is this something that you have suggestions for us? Our community managers always put in those in the forums. They put in like mega threads for feedback. That's where you should put your sentiment. Put all the bug reporting, in-game feedback that goes into like these models that parse it for us and put it in the right buckets for people. But if you want to give us feedback on, was this fun or not? Where do you think we could improve? What are we doing really well that you want us to double down on? It's the forums. That's the best place to
I'm
let
doing
us
my
know.
best,
Yeah,
my
and
best
especially
now
with
to
the starting
just
experience, because
play the game and
we've
have
redone
fun.
the quests, we've redone a lot of the story and lore. All of the architecture you're going to see is
Be nice
been
to people.
changed. The AI is different. So
Have fun with it.
are we hitting the mark? Is it getting where you want it? And if so, please tell us that. But even more importantly is where we're missing, like Katie said. That's what we can action on the most. So that would be helpful.
Yeah. So join us in the PTR, everybody.
Fun times.
This was a fun, different kind of approach to the dev update. So I really appreciate y'all coming and helping with it. Can't wait till October with the Brimstone release, and we'll see you all in September with another dev update.
Awesome. Amazing. Final thoughts. Amazing. Yo, so cool. That is really good to see. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this Brimstone Sands update ever since our company ran up to the edge of Ebonscale over there, kind of down. I think you got to go a little more south. Maybe you could see it from Palace. I don't know. It was one of our chest runs that we did. Oh, it was going to the heights or whatever. I don't even. Mangled Heights. I think that's it, right? I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that run. But anyway, you could run along there and kind of see the area right now in game. There's a big wall of death that's blocking it off, but it's out there. And ever since we kind of discovered it one upon a time on that run, it was always sparked interest and excitement to many of us that was there that day. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited. October is going to be a big month. It's going to be a lot. The PTR is going to be a nice thing too. You're going to be able to see a lot of it already before. And I understand some of you probably aren't going to want to have any spoilers, so you won't play the PTR at all. You don't want to spoil it for yourself, and that makes sense. But it's worth going on and testing things, I don't know. I'll probably do it. Why not? Sounds like fun. I'm excited. It'll be a good time, and yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And I don't know. It's going to be exciting the next couple months here in the game. That is for sure. I'm ready for it. So I hope to see some of you out there. I hope some of you are excited yourself. And, let me know what you think. Let me know what you're waiting for. Let me know if you're ready for the Greatsword. If that's your thing. I haven't played like a DPS character in a while that's melee. So I might just have to do it. I've been leveling an alt for that reason. I don't know. We might just have to pick up the Greatsword, right? Sounds fun. Anyways, thank y'all that watched this, tuned in, watched my reaction. All I gotta say is I'm excited. It should be good. I like the changes that they're talking about. Yeah, especially the territory changes and the shell company changes. Those things will definitely make a huge difference in the way territory works and how companies are run. So it should be fun and exciting if it all works out properly, which I think everyone's kind of been asking for the same sort of thing. And I think that's kind of all what we want. We want to see that in a game, make it a little bit more fair and fun and just more manageable. I think it's the main thing. It's like right now, it just doesn't make any sense. You either make a bunch of shell companies to dominate or you don't really participate at all. And what's the fun in that? I don't know. Some people find it fun. Not a lot of people, though. And I guess that's the problem, right? Anyways, that's all I really got to say about that. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Till next time, have a good one. I'll see you in Eternum.